What do you want me to do? Where to? Actually, Rose would be the better person for that because she actually has talent with this.
Whatever you feel, horizontal, vertical, whatever you feel.
Is that okay for you? Whatever you want
Yeah.
to do. Okay.
Excuse me. I'll stay with both because that's how it's started.
Well, I'll take turns. We'll take turns because I don't expect you to do it for.
Oh, wait, it's not. No.
Of course it's not.
I won't say that.
Instead of dancing earlier, maybe you should have been preparing.
I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This guy, he's gonna get kicked
I
out.
just,
Tell him the house.
he starts it. I just met him and he's cheeky.
Oh, are we starting?
Whenever you want.
Okay, it's just that one I wanted, it seems to be escaping me. Hello, Charles Thomson again, doing some poems. As long as you don't call me a poet, I don't mind. I wanted to find one about the restaurant in Covent Garden. Maybe it'll come to light. So, first of all, we will start with a bit of a political one. Sue Braverman or Braverman, anybody know how to pronounce it?
Braverman.
Braverman was the Home Secretary who came out with a statement which the title of this poem comments on. The title is, I agree with Sue Braverman that homelessness is a lifestyle choice. I agree with Sue Braverman. Sorry, better start the timer. I agree with Sue Braverman when she says homelessness is a lifestyle choice. Of course it is. Anyone in their right mind would prefer the easy option of sleeping on the street. It's invigorating when the temperature drops below zero. Which nutcase would want to live in a centrally heated house? No need to take a bath when you can get soaked through by torrential rain. Homeless people enjoy the thrill of being kicked, spat at or pissed on and having their few possessions wrecked or stolen. It provides excitement, which having a front door with a lock denies most citizens. Who wouldn't want to be hungry? It's an easy way to keep slim and avoid obesity. Most people would welcome the chance to make new friends by begging for spare change. Suella, who is a Buddhist, recognises the chosen lifestyle of the homeless as a unique opportunity for these fortunate people to develop a detachment from the material, although there is no indication that she will be taking advantage of the lifestyle herself in the near future, giving up her estimated £5 million fortune, her £1 million residence, or her car collection, including the Jaguar I-Pace. She has taken the hard and stony path of having great wealth, yet being completely detached from it all. This is King Charles beheads me. Actually, I don't think I want to do King Charles beheads me. I want to do something else. Oh, yeah. What about... There's a nice one which is Blossom on the Cherry Trees, or there's one called Rehabilitate the Swastika, which you'd probably want to hear, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you would. So this is Rehabilitate the Swastika. Rehabilitate the swastika. Don't let Hitler get his way. It's an ancient sacred symbol. Please bring it back today. I have a picture of Krishna hanging on the wall, just past the coat and shoe racks in the middle of the hall. There's a swastika in the corner. I see it when watching telly. It says the Swastika Picture House, a firm that's based in Delhi. It was in the unit badge, which I bet you never knew, of the US Army Division at the start of World War II. It was there as a good luck symbol. Please let me just explain. During the First World War, on a US fighter plane. If you purchase an old volume and care to take a look, there's a cover border of swastikas on a Rudyard Kipling book. Some say the Nazis didn't just steal the symbol, what's worse, they chose to pervert it as well by showing it in reverse. But I'm afraid such research is deserving of little praise, because traditionally it could be shown both ways. Adolf Hitler stole the swastika. Now Adolf Hitler is dead, but his propaganda is winning and ignorance is widespread. A college lecturer was talking a load of shit, insisting to his class that Hitler invented it. He stormed off to the library, and so before very long he found he'd talked out of his arse and got it completely wrong. I went to an Indian shop in Bradford, and what caught my eye was a swastika joystick holder, which I knew I had to buy. At home, I put it next to a Victorian grandfather clock, and my spiritual friends beheld it with a mixture of pity and shock. I ensured their ignorance and delusion were rapidly righted. To see it symbolised all of earth and heaven united. If you think that it belongs to an Austrian corporal, refrain. It belongs to the whole wide world, and we need it back again.
I want to quickly interject. My great-grandfather carved a swastika onto a rock, and I had a picture of it before I knew what you knew. I'm going, what's this? Back in like 1903, 1902. And
I thought you were going to say your great-grandfather was Adolf Hitler.
No. I just thought it's interesting that you should say it. That's just the history.
Yes, I think a lot of the original Kipling books.
Yeah, that's what
it had a, it's a Buddhist symbol.
This poem has stirred up a lot of interest and
Buddhist,
discussion, which is what poetry should do. This is good. This is called A Pair of Boots, a Hat and a Bag. There seemed to be a pair of boots, a hat and a bag on the floor, but no feet in the boots, no head in the hat, and no hand on the bag. Now there is a coat in the room, and a body in the coat, and some trousers inside the coat, with legs inside the trousers. The feet on the legs are now in the boots, the head above the coat is wearing the hat, the hands which protrude from the sleeves of the coat are holding the bag. It all seems to be going very well so far. This is COVID-19 booster. COVID-19 booster vaccine. I felt terrible. I had a headache and no appetite. I was exhausted. I could hardly get out of bed. I felt nauseous. I just drank water and spent most of the day asleep with the phone switched off. The next morning I felt okay again. That was fortunate, as I had an appointment in the afternoon at the local GP surgery for my COVID-19 booster vaccine. What's this? We could have the NASA photo. I knew it was going to happen. I want to be a star, or pissed people. You probably want pissed people. No.
You're leading us.
We can choose one of the other ones if you want. This isn't about me. I shouldn't introduce this. I don't introduce poems, so this is just called Pissed People. I'm one of those pissed off people, pissed off with everything. The world is piss. I've got nothing to live for and nothing to die for either. That's why I'm still alive. Life is piss awful. Everything pisses me off. Work pisses me off, not that I do any. Money pisses me off, not that I have any. Shops piss me off. Cars piss me off. You piss me off. What pisses me off most is me. I'm pissed off with everything in my life. Well, I would be if I had the time and if I had one. People really piss me off. There are too many of them, always getting in the way. Some even say I get in their way. Why don't they all piss off? Now it's raining, it's really pissing down and I'm really pissed off and I need a piss. I'll cross that one out. I won't read it again by mistake. It's called I Knew It Was Going to Happen. I knew it was going to happen before it happened. I was waiting for it to happen. I could see you didn't know it was going to happen, and then it happened. After it happened, you said, it happened. And I said, yes, I could see it was going to happen. I was waiting for it to happen, and I knew you didn't know it was going to happen. And that is exactly how it happened. a nice idyllic one, Blossom on the Cherry Trees. You wanted to write a poem about this, that's okay. Now, I have to find this one about the restaurant. It's not far away. He said I should have prepared this before I came in. I did prepare it before I came in. Just I didn't prepare it well enough. This is actually a traditional part of poetry reading. So here it's the restaurant in Covent Garden. That's the time doing a little bit, a couple more minutes or so. Oh yes, he wants me to carry on.
Yeah, still about the time.
I'll go by the public vote. If they want me to carry on, I'll stop. This is called the restaurant in Covent Garden. We were in Covent Garden when we spotted the board advertising 2-course theatre meals at a fixed price till 7 p.m. So we went into the restaurant and sat down, and seeing as it was before 7 p.m, I asked the waiter for the fixed price 2-course theatre meal. "It's not available," he replied. "But it says outside," I protested, "that it is available." I pointed out that they were advertising the meal, and on that basis we had been enticed to enter the restaurant, so under trading regulations they should provide what they were advertising, and that false advertising is a criminal offence. "It's not available," he said firmly, and walked away. Shortly after, the head waiter appeared, and the same conversation was repeated, until he in turn went off. Before too long, the deputy manager appeared in order to have a conversation identical to the 2 previous conversations and with the same outcome when he also departed. Each successive individual was shorter, stockier, and less patient than the person before. The next individual continued the pattern. I was rapidly escalating up to the restaurant hierarchy and realised I had reached the dizzy heights when the manager himself appeared. At this stage, it will probably not be any great surprise to learn that the pre-formatted conversation occurred for the 4th and, as it turned out, final time. As the top man was now confronting us, there was no point him going off, as there would be nobody above him who could replace him to repeat the conversation, apart from God, which I strongly suspect is what he thought he was. He had to find a different solution to his underlings, and did so with grace and diplomacy, that ranked so highly in terms of customer service that it should be a model example in all management and catering courses. He shouted at me, "Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off out of my restaurant!" As you may guess, at this point the attention of every diner in the restaurant was fixed upon us, with a mixture of astonishment, bewilderment and concern. Perhaps they were thinking they might be next if they dared to find any fault with the meal. Not being one to resist an audience, as my friend and I stood to leave, I called out to the diners in a tone that I trust was grim, deadpan and ironic. "Enjoy your meal. Great service here." Probably got time for one more or a short one.
Did that really happen?
What?
Did that really happen, or is this just a...
No, actually it happened exactly as I put it down. It's the easiest way to write a poem is just write down what happens. I could do an evening round Paul's, it's not particularly good. What I really want to do is my cheese suite of 4 poems about cheese, but that goes on for far too long. And nobody seems to want it. I also wanted to do I'm Not Waiting, but that goes on for even longer.
Well, when you say long, when you say not wanted, that's just not true. You just don't know how long is long. When you say long, long can go on for a very long time.
Quibbling, isn't it?
No,
Heckling is heckling.
no,
He is a bit.
It's heckling.
no. Sorry.
Yes. Now, is this any good? I'm just going to go for the short ones again. I did have some short ones. Perhaps we could just finish. I can't now because I'm not in the finishing kind of phase. How about King Charles beheads me? During a conversation, I inadvertently referred to Prince Charles and then immediately corrected myself. Oh, it's not Prince Charles anymore, it's King Charles now. But what does it matter? Maybe if I ever meet him, I will shake hands and say, Pleased to meet you, Mr. Windsor. After I said this, I had a vision, like a dream, of the king commanding his armed guards wearing breastplates and curved metal Elizabethan helmets. Take this man away, and then I am put in a dungeon in the Tower of London and marched by the guard to the chopping block. Not the shopping block, the chopping block. My head is laid on it as I glance up to see a giant figure clad in black with a black hood covering the top half of his face. As there's nothing much else I can do, I preserve my honour by acting with calm courage, nobility and dignity. That will show them. As is customary, I say to the executioner, I forgive you. Then he lifts his axe and swings it down. The blade reaches my neck and in a split second cuts through flesh, nerves, artery, muscle, bone, severing my spinal cord as my bodiless head thuds onto the straw. I don't think they actually do that kind of thing nowadays, at least in this country, my companion reassured me. Nevertheless, it's definitely Your Highness. From now on, no point taking chances. I could do the evening at Paul's just as a kind of, you know, a kind of finale.
This Paul?
Yeah, a tribute. And it's not, you know, I've got other poems that go down much better, but you're in it as well. You don't mind being in, do you?
No.
You're both in it. Okay. This is an evening at Paul's. I don't know. Anyway. It's all right if you read it on the page in a book with lots of other stuff. It's not so good when you read it out. But, you know, it's a tribute. I caught an Uber to Paul's. The driver was Polish. He'd been in England for 15 years. He said he had wanted to live here since he was a boy, when he saw British films. He liked this stable country, the economy, and the ladies and gentlemen. He said when he got here it wasn't like the film, but he still liked it and wanted to stay anyway. He said that under the communists in Poland, you couldn't do anything unless you knew someone in government. His father was well off, but couldn't buy a car because he didn't know anyone in government. His father had a friend who knew someone in government. The friend had an old car and was buying a new car. The father paid the full price of the new car, in exchange received the old car. But he still needed parts, so he did jobs for people in exchange for the parts. Paul made a cup of tea. His father, who is 83, said he had recently been on a march for Gaza, and in 1963 in America he had been on Martin Luther King's march. He showed us his commemorative badge. He said, the Russians will definitely win the war in Ukraine. The BBC was full of biased news, but he regularly watched 10 YouTube channels where the experts were all in agreement. Paul pointed out that the YouTube algorithm fed people the things they wanted to see based on their past preferences. I said I had seen channels that said the complete opposite about the war in Ukraine. I said whatever channels I looked at, there were always other channels that said the complete opposite, so I didn't believe anybody anymore. Paul said the BBC recently had a panel discussing Donald Trump. All 4 guests were against him, and even the interviewer chipped in with negative comments. He said the mass media in this country and abroad did not give proper coverage to the International Court of Justice decision that there was genocide in the Gaza Strip, and the United Kingdom and the United States should stop supporting it. Failing which, they could be prosecuted in their own countries. Paul said the BBC gave biased coverage about the war in Ukraine. Paul said he had been in Bangkok at the same time as a mutual friend, but neither of them had realised it at the time. Then Paul interviewed me on video with his mobile phone about my earlier period of painting and my more recent period of painting and my poems. I walked back past my old doctors, who had been forced to close his practice because of bad record keeping, or something like that, although his patients were very happy with him. The building is now a dentist. Then I walked past the solicitors I had used, which had been shut down and the solicitor struck off because of bad financial management of the client's money, or something like that. This had also happened to an old school friend of mine. Something like that anyway. Then I reached home, made dinner and settled down to watch some biased coverage about Donald Trump, Ukraine and the Gaza Strip. Thank you very much.
Was that solicitor in East Finchley?
Sorry?
Was the solicitor in East
It
Finchley?
was, it's the one you know, yeah.
Yes, it's the one that we used.
I was just going to see if there is a short one here. Yeah, the NASA photo. I'll just finish with the NASA photo. The NASA photo shows the Earth from 913 billion miles away. The Earth is the size of a dot on a newspaper page. All of us, that is the whole of the human race, are on that small dot. So how big are we? I think I'm 6 foot tall, but in reality, I'm smaller than a dot on the dot. I'm the size of an atom, the size of a grain of sand on all the beaches and deserts of the world. I thought I was a reasonable height, and now I realise I'm microscopic. It's almost as if I don't exist. Thank you very much. Overrun my time as usual.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Very kind audience.
so much.
Thank you. No guitar, no amplification.
Yeah, it's just you.
I have to stand though.